Well, I thought early in the game when we got a couple of decent looks, a couple of layups that didn't go in, we got a little tight in a stretch, and more importantly, tight offensively, we got tight defensively at the other side, and they opened up a huge lead in that time, and then all of a sudden now you're going to claw back from a big lead. So I thought that was tough, and then we didn't adjust quickly enough to how they were guarding. Once we adjusted to how they were guarding, and Kayla was getting to the basket, they were just pressuring so hard, our way passing game, and they weren't going to let Jamie get it because she's fronting her and she can jump out of the gym. McQueen, she doesn't look like it, but she can really get up. And then once we made that adjustment, then we were starting to get some baskets, but I thought we were a little tight in the moment there to start the game and created a big hole, so that was tough. But I'm proud of the way down the stretch. We had a goal to be in the top 5 this year, to not play in the first round or whatever we call it now. Half the league is in that first round game, but whatever it's called. But we had a goal to not be in that, and we had our backs against the wall, and we had to answer in big moments down the stretch. And I think this group did it. The seniors, their approach to things really helped us. We're still learning how to get as many wins as we want. That team has had a lot of them, and they sort of know how to get them. And we want to continue our progress towards that.
Terry, from the scoreboard, it was a continuation of most of the second half of the last time you played them. When it was, it was pretty similar to the same score. Did the game unfold the same way? Did they do something differently with that defensive pressure that you were talking about?
No, I mean, do you think the game was a continuation of the second?
Well, the score was pretty similar to the second half of the last time you played.
Oh, our first half this time?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It was a little different what they were doing, but not crazy. They pressured more, I thought, this time than they did in the first meeting in the second half. I mean, we threw it away a little bit in the first half, but it wasn't as much pressure. They pressured more in the half court this time, so it was definitely different.
And maybe Kayla, Kayla and Jamie, you could just talk about, too, just trying to search for that offense when things aren't going, the way you had anticipated.
Yeah, it was definitely hard. Our shots weren't falling, and so defensively we kind of got back on our heels. And it wasn't until the second half where we started being aggressive and really attacking the basket. So we just dug ourselves in a hole we couldn't get out of.
Yeah, they were pressuring so high that we had to attack the basket, and I know they were taking Jamie away inside, so we had to figure out certain ways to score.
Once we went to a bunch of ball screens there, that later part of the first half, second half, and Kayla was getting to the basket, and we started breaking them down and getting some looks. It just took us a little long to get there. And like Jamie said, we can't get back on our heels, right? Because if we don't get back on our heels, and instead of 20, make the leads 15 or 14, now it's different. Because when we make a little run in the second half, it gets into single digits, and then because when it's a 20-some point game, I can make shots. Because it doesn't matter if I miss it, right? There's no pressure, but you get it back into the single digits and everybody's a little tighter and not everyone's making shots. So I thought if we didn't get back on our heels defensively when our offense wasn't going, maybe they might still scored, but it's not as big a gap at that point.
Coach, today, along with the starting 5, Quinnipiac had a couple players off the bench really make some major contributions today. So how much more difficult is it to keep up the defense and try to dig yourself out of the hole when more than just the starting 5 are really making those contributions?
Yeah, they play a lot of people, and they have all year. But they definitely, some people contributed more points-wise than they had, during the year. So I don't know if it makes it more difficult. They're good players too. They're coming in the games. I don't know if it necessarily makes it more difficult. I think McQueen is really tough to handle. When you look at the conference, she's so athletic and so strong. She's drawn a lot of attention, and a lot of the other players, sometimes you get some freedoms and some spaces that you don't normally get because she draws so much attention. And I thought they made some of those shots when we were trying to help inside or whatever.
Talk about, too, the willingness to stick with it in the second half. I mean, that's a big deficit to come, to come back from and try to come out and just to keep your head in the game and do that. I mean, Kayla obviously had a big second half.
No question, and I think it's huge for the maturation of our team that stick with it, grind it. We put a whole new offense in this year, our motion offense. In late in games, and for her whole career as a senior in her first years, we ran tons of quick hitters. And when the game is on the line or things are going bad in the beginning of the game, when you run a quick hitter, everybody knows where to go and what to do. It's just like, oh, I gotta go do this. But when you run motion, you have to read and screen. And if you get the slightest bit scared or get back on your heels, you can't make those reads. So to see them buckle down and say, okay, stick with it, and grind back is big. And I mean, you could tell, I saw it on Kayla's face. Like, we gotta do this. Like, I gotta get this going right here. And she showed, like, I'm gonna try to get us back in it, and she did. She did a great job with that.